Evaluate what you can do, not the title they're going to give you. Do real work. As the world becomes more connected and less hierarchical, traditional career paths are shifting as well. In 2001, after working in the government, I moved out to Silicon Valley to try to find a job. My timing wasn't really that good. The bubble had crashed, small companies were closing, big companies were laying people off. One woman CEO looked at me and said, "We would never even think about hiring someone like you." After a while, I had a few offers and I had to make a decision. So what did I do? I'm MBA trained. I made a spreadsheet and I listed my jobs in the columns and the things of my criteria in the rows and compared the companies and the missions and the roles. One of the jobs on that sheet was to become Google's first business unit general manager, which sounds good now, but at the time, no one thought consumer internet companies could ever make money. I was not sure that there was actually a job there at all. Google had no business unit, so what was there to generally manage? And the job was several levels lower than jobs I was being offered at other companies. So I sat down with Eric Schmidt, who had just become the CEO, and I showed him my spreadsheet, and I said, "This job meets none of my criteria." He put his hand on my sheet, and he looked at me and he said, "Don't be an idiot. Excellent career advice." And then he said, "Get on a rocket ship. When companies are growing quickly and they're having a lot of impact, careers take care of themselves. And when companies aren't growing quickly or the missions don't matter as much, that's when stagnation and politics come in. If you're offered a seat on a rocket ship, don't ask what seat, just get on." About 6.5 years later, when I was leaving Google, I took that advice to heart. I was offered CEO jobs at a bunch of companies, but I went to Facebook as COO. At the time, people said, "Why are you going to work for a 23-year-old? The traditional metaphor for careers is a ladder, but I no longer think that metaphor holds. It doesn't make sense in a less hierarchical world. When I was first at Facebook, a woman named Lori Goler, a 1997 graduate of HBS, was working in marketing at eBay, and I knew her kind of socially, and she called me and she said, "I want to think about, talk to you about coming to work with you at Facebook." So I thought about calling you and telling you all the things I'm good at and all the things I like to do, but I figured that everyone's doing that. So instead, I want to know, what's your biggest problem and how can I solve it? My jaw hit the floor. I've hired thousands of people up to that point in my career, but no one had ever said anything like that, and I had never said anything like that. Job searches are always about the job searcher, but not in Lori's case. I said, "You're hired. My biggest problem is recruiting, and you can solve it." So Lori changed fields into something she never thought she'd do, went down a level to start in a new field, and has since been promoted and runs all of the people operations at Facebook and is doing an extraordinary job, having amazing impact. Lori has a great metaphor for careers. She says they're not a ladder, they're a jungle gym. As you start your post-HBS career, look for opportunities. Look for growth, look for impact, look for mission. Move sideways, move down, move on, move off. Build your skills, not your resume. Evaluate what you can do, not the title they're going to give you. Do real work. Take a sales quota, a line role, an ops job. Don't plan too much, and don't expect a direct climb. If I had mapped out my career when I was sitting where you are, I would have missed my career. You are entering a different business world than I entered. Mine was just starting to get connected. Yours is hyper-connected. Mine was competitive. Yours is way more competitive. Mine moved quickly. Yours moves even more quickly. As traditional structures are breaking down, leadership has to evolve as well. From hierarchy to shared responsibility, from command and control to listening and guiding. You've been trained by this great institution not just to be part of these trends, but to lead. As you lead in this new world, you will not be able to rely on who you are or the degree you hold. You'll have to rely on what you know. Your strength will not come from your place on some org chart. Your strength will come from building trust and earning respect. You're going to need talent and skill and imagination and vision.